coming up next is my summer book haul. Hey pals, Alicia here. Welcome to my channel. And if you're new here, this is the place where we talk about books. Today I am here to bring to you my summer book haul. This is all of the books that I have accumulated since about May. It is August 8th today, so that's a good 3.5 months of accumulating books. And I'll be honest, I didn't actually think I had accumulated that many books until I actually went through the exercise of stacking them here. And that's really the moment when you get a good hard look at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, what are you doing? Why have you done this? How did this happen?
Ooh, somebody stop me!
So I've got a really good cross-section of books in terms of genre. We've got some non-fiction, we've got some horror, we've got some contemporary, we've got some short story collections, and I haven't read any of these books that I'm about to talk about yet, so that's also story of my life. So if you see any books on here that you also want to read, maybe we can read them together. Maybe we can start a little book club where we read the books on our shelves. Or where we read the books on Alicia's shelves, because she needs help doing that. So without further ado, let's just talk about some good books. So the first book that I am excited to share with you today is The Dinosaur Artist: Obsession, Science, and the Global Quest for Fossils by Paige Williams. This is a non-fiction story that was a gift. This was given to me for my birthday, and I am so thrilled to have this. This is a non-fiction true crime story about dinosaur fossils. It follows a story in 2012 at a New York auction where someone tried to sell a fully articulated Tyrannosaurus Rex to a personal buyer in Mongolia. So it's kind of a investigative journalist story that follows who has the right to purchase history, like who owns history. So this kind of blends the the dinosaur paleontology side, but then also a little bit of crime, a little bit of politics, a little bit of science, commerce, business. I'm expecting this to be a exciting story, but also telling me about my pals the dinos, because fun fact about me is I absolutely love dinosaurs. Next up we have Seven Fallen Feathers by Tanya Talaga. This is racism, death, and hard truths in a northern city. So Tanya Talaga is an award-winning investigative journalist, and this novel is all about Thunder Bay, Ontario. Thunder Bay, Ontario has a notorious history of extreme racism against Indigenous peoples, and this story is about from the year 2000 to 2011, 7 Indigenous high school students went missing, were murdered, and their bodies were discovered all around different places in Thunder Bay. So Tanya Talaga dives deep into their lives, into those crimes, into what happened to them and how it happened to them, and really points out some hard truths to face about not only Thunder Bay, but how white settlers in Canada treat Indigenous peoples, but then also crimes against Indigenous peoples, or, don't treat them. So I have heard so many great things about this book, and I am, just always interested to learn about the legacy that I am a part of in this country. So I am really excited to get to Seven Fallen Feathers. Next up, we've got The Skin We're In, A Year of Black Resistance and Power by Desmond Cole. This is a nonfiction story. Desmond Cole is a journalist and a writer in Canada, and this nonfiction novel is all taking place in the year 2017, where each chapter is a different month of that year, and each has a story that helps illustrate and kind of poke holes at this kind of national feeling that Canadians have, almost this smugness that Canada is a post-racial nation, where Canadians feel like, oh, we're super not racist here. Just look at the United States. Canada is fine. Absolutely not. That is absolutely not true. And Desmond Cole kind of pokes at that sentiment, and this just seems like essential reading for a Canadian. I am really excited to get into this one as well. And the last nonfiction book that I have today is Stamped from the Beginning, A Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America by Ibram X. Kendi. This, kind of similar to The Skin We're In, is starting from the very beginning, chronicling the legacy of racism against Black people in America. So I've got a Canadian history lesson and an American history lesson. The little blurb on the back says, a deep and often disturbing chronicling of how anti-Black thinking has entrenched itself in the fabric of American society, not solely through ignorance, but through a rationalization of inequity in institutional practices. Looking for a history lesson, and I think I will get that from Ibram X. Kendi. Next, we've got Almond by Son Mong-pyun. This is a story about a young teenager who was born with a condition called alexithymia, which means that he has difficulty, if not any ability at all, to experience emotions like fear or anger. So this is a story told from his point of view, and I guess, like, some sort of incident happens around him and how this teen has to navigate that experience with the emotions or lack thereof that he has. I've heard this compared to The Curious Incident of a Dog in the Nighttime, which was a story that I really liked, and I have heard nothing but good things about this, so I am really excited to get to this one soon. Next up, we've got The Diving Pool by Yoko Ogawa. This will be my third Yoko Ogawa, and I am super excited to get to this. I have already read Revenge, as well as The Housekeeper and the Professor, and The Diving Pool is a collection of 3 short stories, 3 short novellas. Like, the overall book is really short anyways, so I'll just call them 3 short stories. And they follow themes of love, motherhood, fertility, obsession. Darkly humorous collection of novellas about normal people who suddenly discover their own dark possibilities. So Yoko Ogawa has this beautiful, quiet, delicate writing that also has like a very dark edge to it. Sometimes in the stories it's more overt than others. I find her subtle writing so compelling. So I am very excited to get to this one. Next up, we've got Version Control by Dexter Palmer. A friend of mine had read this and said it was really good, so when I saw it in a used bookstore, I picked it up immediately. So Version Control is a story about a married couple, Rebecca and her husband. Rebecca just going through her life, she feels like something is not right. She just everything seems a little bit strange, but she can't quite put her finger on it. And her relationship with her husband is quite strained because he is obsessed with this invention that he has built that he calls the causality violation device. Because he refuses to call it a time machine. So he has this causality violation device that he can't quite get to work. He can't figure it out. It won't work. But you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it is working. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? So this is a science fiction story, time travel, time loops. Time travel, time loops is one of my favorite tropes. So I'm really excited to get to this, family drama time travel story. Next up, I've got Indian Horse by Richard Wagamese. I read Medicine Walk by Richard Wagamese earlier this year, and I absolutely loved it. It's one of the best books I have read so far this year, so I was so excited to pick up another novel by him. I think this might be his most well-known work as well, so I'm highly anticipating this. This is about a young man named Saul Indian Horse. His life isn't going the way that he wants it to go. He's kind of at a bottom in his life. He is now at a treatment facility to kind of deal with the addictions that he has. So we're kind of starting at the present where Saul is in a bad place, and then it goes back in time and does a kind of coming of age story of Saul's life and how he got to where he is. It's a story of residential schools, of cultural alienation, of racism, of addiction, and I believe hockey is also featured here in some way. So I'm really excited to read this point of view, read this perspective, and read another Richard Wagamese. He has not let me down. Next, we've got The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. This is a YA contemporary story told in verse. I read my first novel told in verse this year and absolutely loved it, by Jason Reynolds, so I'm really excited to try again. The Black Flamingo follows a mixed-race gay teen named Michael living in London. He's trying to navigate his identity, his queerness as a teen, and he kind of gets pulled into the drag scene and the drag community. And I think this novel kind of culminates in Michael putting on his own drag show. So I am so excited to read this. I've heard so many great things. Like, it's a very empowering story with a lot of heart and with a lot of love. And I am really excited to get to this one soon. Also, the naked hardback is so cute. It's covered in, it's pink with flamingos. Next, we've got The Deeper the Water, The Uglier the Fish, a novel by Katya Apakina. I was sucked into this story by CJ Reads. She talked about this with such love, and so it is her fault that I bought this immediately. It sounds incredible. This is a family drama about two sisters who are, desperate to get the love and attention from their mother, who is living with a severe mental illness. So she said this book was beautiful and haunting, and like haunting in the sense that she has not stopped thinking about it for a long while after that. And I want to be tortured. I want to feel that lingering, that lingering touch that a book can leave you with sometimes. So this seems like a real heavy hitter that will resonate. Next, I've got a short story collection. I've got Toddler Hunting and Other Stories by Taiko Kono. This is a short story collection that was translated from Japanese, and the writing is promised to be strange, beautiful, dark, disturbing. What else? What else could you want? The title story, Toddler Hunting, is about a woman who hates little girls, but obsessively buys clothes for little boys so she can make them wear them. So that sounds really fucked up. And I'm expecting lots of good things. Lots of good, horrible, dark, spooky, disturbing things from this collection. This collection also, I believe, gathers stories that were published independently throughout her career. And I love bind-up collections like that. You get the best of the best in one bind-up. What more could you want? What more could you need? Next up, we've got a nice, fun, campy horror. We've got Video Night by Adam Cesar. This is a homage to 80s slashers. This is about two best friends. I'm imagining they're teenagers who are gonna have their, Friday video night. Have some pizza, invite some girls over, do their thing. But then I think some sort of alien or monster something happens. I don't know. I'm picturing like an 80s slasher movie, and I don't really want to know anything else. The sentence on the back is really what sells it. John Hughes meets John Carpenter in this squirming, splattery, raucous homage to 80s horror. Grab your samurai swords and your TV remotes. It's going to be a long night. So hell yes to this. Adam Cesar is also a YouTuber, a horror YouTuber, horror booktuber. Go check him out. I'm really excited to read this novel. Next up, we've got a bit of a YA fantasy story, maybe? This is Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. This is about a young girl named Jam, and Jam is living in a kind of utopian society, like a post-racism, post-anything bad world, or so one would think, until Jam finds a monster that is called Pet. And then Pet and Jam together kind of uncover, secrets in this world that others might try and hide and keep hidden. So I'm imagining this to be quite a metaphorical, allegorical work for the world today. I haven't read Akwaeke Emezi before, and the next book I have to share is also by them. I have 2 books by them to read. This one is Freshwater. Freshwater is an adult contemporary. This is about a person named Ada, who has always felt a little bit different, and then when Ada grows up and goes to college, a traumatic event happens to them, and then they have all of these different identities and selves within them that kind of crystallizes into something. So I'm imagining this to be a strange little journey with a really powerful message. I could be explaining this absolutely horribly. The back is just really captivating, but doesn't really tell you a lot about it. So if you have read this, let me know if I'm 100% wrong. But I have 2 books by Akwaeke Emezi that I am really, really, really excited to get to soon. Next up, we've got another short story collection. We've got Annie Muktuk and Other Stories by Norma Dunning. Norma Dunning is an Enoch writer, and I heard about this collection from Thunderbird Woman Reads. She just made this sound absolutely incredible. Norma Dunning writes in this collection it's all about Enoch culture, Enoch tradition, and really challenges Southern perceptions or Canadian perceptions of what the North is, who Inuit people are. I've heard that her writing style is very decolonized, so there is a lot of Indigenous language and tradition and poetry weaved into the actual narratives. So I am so excited to read this perspective. I'm so excited to get this point of view and to read this collection. I don't really know what to expect, and that is really exciting to me. And the cover art is absolutely beautiful. The next are a couple of small trade paperbacks. I was lucky enough to be able to go into a used bookstore, and I found a couple of real winners on the shelf. So I've got a couple I will go through. The first one is Fear by Ronald Kelly. This is a coming-of-age horror from 1994. I don't really know much about this, but I read Summer of Night by Dan Simmons earlier this year and said I had really liked it. And then someone, I can't remember who it was, let me know if you were the one who recommended it, said that I would really like Fear by Ronald Kelly. That is about, a kid growing up in a town with some flesh-eating monster. So, flesh-eating creature feasting on the blood of innocent children. So, yes. Yes, please. Next, I found Naomi's Room by Jonathan Aycliffe. This is another horror, and this is about a man named Charles. His daughter is kidnapped and murdered, except, well, she is murdered, but her ghost stays, and her ghost is haunting him. So he is being haunted by the ghost of his daughter and the sinister events that follow from there. I've heard that this book is disturbing, so we all love disturbing content. Next, I found The Companion by Ken Greenhall. This is a horror from 1988. I recently read Elizabeth and Hellhound by Ken Greenhall, so I definitely wanted to give another book of his a try. The Companion is about a person named Gillian Cole, who is an angel of death. She goes from town to town, seeking out the elderly, the aged, and the sick, and loves them and cares for them to death. So I don't really want to know anything else other than that, and I want to find out more about this sinister companion. And then finally in that used bookstore, I found 2 books by Toni Morrison, which I am really excited to read because I hate to admit that I have not read Toni Morrison yet. So I really want to remedy that soon. I found The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, which I believe is a story about child abuse. It is about a young girl who dreams to have blue eyes. She wants to be noticed. She wants to be beautiful. And then I think she finally is noticed by someone who does something heinous. And then I found Beloved by Toni Morrison also in that in that haul. This is about a woman who escaped slavery and is haunted by that history and the memories of that. She's haunted by a spirit, so I don't know if that's multiple spirits or one spirit. I actually don't know a lot about this, so I'm really excited to pick this one up soon. I've heard this is often categorized as a horror, so love that. Just a couple more to go. Bear with me, pals. Next up, we have The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I just got this one in the mail today, which is what inspired me to do this book haul. I have been highly anticipating this novel. This is a horror novel that was published in July. It is traveling around the world. It is traveling around Booktube. I'm hearing nothing but incredible things about this. This is about 4 Indigenous men who 10 years ago went on a elk hunting trip and something went wrong, or they did something wrong. And now 10 years later in the present, they are being haunted by something that is a result of what happened in the past. So I really excited to get to this one soon. Next up, we've got The Lost Man by Jane Harper. This was a gift that I am so thankful for. Thank you. And this is a mystery, crime, suspense thriller about 2 brothers who live in the Australian outback. They live on neighboring ranches, and their 3rd brother has died under mysterious circumstances. So I think this is kind of a murder mystery, or was he murdered? Did he just die? What's happened? I've heard this is spooky and ominous and really plays with the isolation of the Australian outback, and this is a standalone. I know Jane Harper has also written a series, but I believe this is a standalone novel, and I'm all about isolation, thrilling, horror, murder. I'm all about that. So thanks again. Next, I've got The Changeling by Victor LaValle. This will be my 3rd Victor LaValle. I've read The Ballad of Black Tom as well as Slapboxing with Jesus. This one is getting so much buzz. This is a fantasy, horror, magical realism story about a man named Apollo whose wife commits some sort of mysterious act of violence. The back doesn't say. So his wife commits some heinous act of violence, and then he is traveling through some sort of enchanted, magical, mystical New York searching for his wife. So I don't really know anything else other than that, and I don't want to. I really want to go into this as a mystery. And finally, the last book that I have to share with you today is Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. This is a dystopian story about Marcos, who is living in a world where an infectious virus has made all animal meat poisonous to humans. And Marcus works at a meat processing plant where they are now processing humans. Because animal meat has become poisonous, but human meat, that's all good. So this is a dystopian, probably a little bit horror, probably a little bit satire. As soon as I heard about this book, I knew it was going to be for me. I read Under the Skin by Michelle Faber earlier this year, and that kind of follows a very similar storyline, and I really liked that one. So I'm really excited for another perspective and another point of view. We did it! There was my obnoxiously long book haul of the last few months. Let me know if you have read any of these and what you thought. Let me know if you want to read any of these and maybe we can read them together. Thanks for being here, guys. Love hanging out with you. Love you being here. Keep being great. Keep keeping it real. Till next time. I'll see you, bye!